Welcome back to ESL Pro League. You're joining us, of course, on the European B stream. However, this is much more of a conference stream than anything else, as we are going to be updating you on everything that goes on throughout the night. Of course, another 7 matches to go. On your screen, it is going to be the NiP EnVy matchup. However, NiP, they're already secured their journey to Oden. So this night now, much more looking towards the other teams. Of course, EnVy, still something up for grabs for them, potentially.
Yeah,
I need to do some napkin math there to confirm that, but
pretty much. I mean, I don't think they can make it to the top 6 at this stage.
Yeah.
But they could still be looking to hop over. I know they're sat just below Hellraisers at the moment, aren't they?
I believe so.
And they are looking to hop over. Obviously, Hellraisers did get the win, 16-8 versus Godsend. So if they are able to pick up, if EnVy are able to pick up this map with a decent scoreline, there is a bit of a difference between the two. They could be looking to take that sort of higher seed.
Interesting how the odds have somewhat shifted. Only minor shifts, but still shifts nonetheless.
Yeah, it's more in the favor of Ninjas in Pajamas. We saw earlier today it was slightly more even and balanced. I mean, it is still very even and balanced here, but Ninjas in Pajamas taking a little bit more of a favor going into this second match. Obviously, off the back of losing or winning that first one, sorry, they've instilled confidence in the betters.
I like that. I like that a lot. Instilling confidence. That's a good saying. But Cobblestone, of course, is going to be that we head to. I mean, in comparison to Train, I think they are going to be 2 very different maps. Still a lot of pressure, of course, on those AWPers to perform. I mean, you've got mid, you've got B-Plat. I think B-Plat is always going to be a big thing, just on how quickly the Ts can get there. Anything that stings out for you?
Not really. I mean, you just have to play it standard. It's really going to be a case of, I think Ninjas in Pajamas are going to have the edge here. I'm going with Betway and with.
Do you imagine it'll be demotivated EnVy because they know that they can no longer make it? It's all about just keeping that kind of top spot. And
that's the thing.
As long as they're mid-pack, they're staying in Pro League.
I mean, so this is an entirely sort of. Well, it's kind of important in terms of seeding and all of that for Ninjas in Pajamas, money, but they've already booked their tickets, right? They are ready to go. So in a sense, this map for them it matters, but it doesn't really in terms of their actual outcome and their potential outcome as well. And it's the same for EnVyUs. It's just the same. It's just whether or not you move up the table, where you end up falling, and what's really going to happen around there. But nonetheless, we are going to get underway. Ninjas in Pajamas versus Team EnVyUs on Cobblestone, and EnVyUs already taking the initiative over towards B. Get Right traded out for one. Rez finds one as well as they try and burst on for the entry. Happy jumping himself up close and up in Rez's face as the rest of the Ts do start to push out of drop as well, and Sixer lands the headshot. 3 players now all rotating towards this B site, but EnVyUs with a flurry of kills going through, able to completely overrun, get the bomb plant, and Happy closes us down.
Yeah, Sixer and Happy both doing a lot of work there. I mean, the 2 kills that Sixer claimed basically opened up the site for EnVy, and from there, well, everything just fell into place. Frag after frag, EnVy took themselves to pistol, and they'll use that to hopefully leapfrog themselves towards the second as well. It's NiP. Well, of course they're going to invest, but it's a very tough round for them, especially when you're up against the plethora of SMGs we're looking at. Of course, they all are SMGs in itself, but 4 MAC-10s, just a 1 UMP.
Wasn't it Team EnVyUs that won both pistol rounds last game as well? If memory serves, I think it was as well. And Scream was the one who bought the Galil in the second half of the last map, and the rest of them bought 4 MAC-10s again. It seems to be a pretty default play. They seem to be pretty strong on their pistol rounds and pretty confident on their second rounds as well, it seems. Was Happy able to land the headshot with that MAC-10. Exist on site, not quite able to do the damage necessary, but Forrest is. He's going to try and look for a second, but EnVyUs are not to be halted, and Rez certainly won't be able to do so, and EnVyUs put 2 on the board.
Yeah, a good chunk of damage, but nothing they could really capitalize on, unfortunately. And this does lead us to what should be the kind of perfect world 3-0. You talked about in the last game, the idea in Counter-Strike, how usually if you kind of get 2 rounds, you expect your third. If you get 4 rounds, you're expecting the 5th. It's just kind of the way that the money situation for teams usually plays out. And that's kind of what we're seeing here, of course, for NiP. They can't invest. It would be a ridiculous move. Instead, they are just going to take all of that money, kind of stash it away for that 4th round buy. And they'll just wait here on these USPs to try and basically do as much damage as they can. Maybe sneak in a kill with the Zeus if you get right.
Wow.
The timing impeccable. Absolutely impeccable get right.
That's one of my favorite sound effects in the entire game, is when someone gets killed by a Zeus. I'll spare you an impression, but it's just a beautiful sound.
There's someone out there. There's not many people, but there's someone out there who definitely wants to hear that now.
Ah! How's that?
There you go, folks. I'm honestly so sorry that that piece of your mind has been opened up.
You're not sorry at all.
I take no responsibility at all.
Take all responsibility.
Damage is done. Mac-10s claiming themselves some money, of course. EnVy did find themselves a plant. Now, of course, for NiP, they took down Happy, they took down Scream. That's 2 frags. Yeah, the meaning, it doesn't really mean too much. I mean, I'm going to be blunt there. I think that you kind of need 3 to really push over the line. It will impact EnVy a teeny bit, but nothing life-changing.
And that's the thing as well, because they're playing on those Mac-10s. They were going to be upgrading them, or looking to upgrade them into the next round anyway. They're going to be able to pick up those AKs now. The loss of that UMP is probably the major hit to them. But you can just see they did actually lose another Mac-10, but again, it's not really an issue. And RPK just racking up money as well. The majority of the kills going over to those Mac-10s, which means that they do have a lot of money to play with, and they're just going to be opening the coffers and spilling forth their bounty into the rest of their team. As 4 AKs get picked up, and actually it looks like a 5th is going to follow. Maybe an AWP, actually, going over onto Sixter, but no. They are just going to opt for those 5 AKs. Coming up against the 5 M4s from Ninjas in Pyjamas. And a little bit of early utility used from Ninjas means that EnVy could have a little bit of a foothold moving forwards.
Well, EnVy are definitely going to be hungry for this B site. We're seeing all of the signs that the B site take is what's coming. They've smoked off Door nice and early. They've thrown a melee towards the back of Plat. They threw a smoke towards Rock, I believe, as well. The flashes are all there. Everything is in place now for EnVy to wander out on towards the site. The problem is they're not getting the kills. Rez on the back of this site is doing work. The trade should have came in, but Rez was gifted a double kill. Sixer able to turn around back on its head. Scream playing alongside him for the swift one-tap. He goes for a second, kills off Get Right, brings it back to a 1v1, peeks in towards Door. Tap is the aim of the game, and tap is what Scream will achieve. 3 kills for him, and EnVy gifted their 4th round.
4-0, and as we said before, looking to move it on to a 5th. Plenty of money on the side of EnVyUs, so those AKs will just be chucked about willy-nilly, no problem. You wanna borrow an AK? No problem. I've got you covered. Says all of Team EnVyUs. But instead of that, actually, a Mac-10 being brought up. Now, I quite like this, because they know this 5th round is going to be a round where Ninjas in Pyjamas can't necessarily buy armor on all of their players. They're looking at Sixer to try and go in fast, try and get close and spray down those enemies and be that sacrificial lamb, because even if they pick up that Mac-10, it's not the end of the world. They're going to be able to take it on if they so choose. But, I mean, losing him for nothing isn't ideal. Do want to have a little bit of something for that investment, but the ROI hasn't come to fruition just yet. Team EnVyUs still just biding their time.
I think Jake's a man after our hearts right now. He keeps on hopping back to Get Right. He's got the Zeus, hoping that, a bit of magic will happen. Here we go again, holding our window. Hops on through, he's behind a rifle, and he actually gets away with it. The sound effect didn't quite pop. I know it was your favorite bit, but the kill came in. The rifle drop there. RPK, of course, will still secure things. There is no actual win condition for NiP, but there's the comical side of things, that 2 rounds and 2 Zeus kills.
That's a badge of honor. That is 2 Zeus kills in 2 rounds. That's or in 3 rounds, wasn't it? In 3 rounds. That's pretty impressive. Big fan of Get Right. Big fan of that. Well done.
I thought you'd just given him like a pat on the back.
That's it. That's all he needs.
Double up set up very early on for this, though, for NiP. They're pretty much big bulk investment. 2 ups. Be interesting to see how this plays out. Of course, EnVy opting for just a 1. It's going to be on Sixer. Scream. Oh, advancing forward through the smoke.
They heard it. They heard it, and he was able to back off, but Exist just turns the corner and Scream's like, oh, cool, ahead. I'll click on that. And he does manage to get the frag, and straight away they have the advantage. Once again, EnVyUs really putting their best foot forwards off the back of the loss as well. They've done well to rally around it and rally around this this change of map, change of game, and they're really treating it like a new day, which is fantastic to see. But maybe not if you're a Ninjas in Pyjamas fan, because they go for the drop.
RPK going to push on in. Rez doing pretty good work so far. It's been a pretty strong anchor on this site. And instead, again, 2 kills for him. Scream whipping one back, leaving Draken towards Coop with that AWP. Left completely flashed off the smoke as well, proving to be rather problematic as Happy. He's going to be dispatching Get Right, who was stuck towards Rock. 50 seconds swings on by Scream, going to be getting aggressive. Spots out Forest. Just another one-tap Scream doing as Scream will. Draken trying desperately to survive. All comes down to his play now. The decisions he makes, that is a nasty flick. 1 more is all that he needs. The peek comes in, knows the position now of Scream. holding the cross desperately, banking on the idea that he just takes the fight. He will, but it's Scream that wins the duel.
Oh, the bomb got dropped over towards Plateau on the stairs, actually, so it meant that Scream didn't have that backup from the player he was expecting to come in and aid him. But it's just he was able to win out that trade, but that was very, very lucky. 4 kills.
4 kills from Scream.
From Scream on that round, which is, I mean, in any round that's crazy, but especially when in that sort of clutch situation, really coming up big for his team. And unfortunate because Draken had a really good run there, able to drop the bomb carrier in a less than favorable position, we'll say that, and then able to get the rest of the frags as well, and almost taking down Scream to boot. Just lost out on the duel, wasn't quite quick enough on the trigger, but a very nice play coming out from him positionally and tactically in terms of having that trigger discipline to not go for those peaks when he didn't need to.
I think everything was there at the end of the day. It just, the stars did not align. Scream. Nasty, nasty work. 9-2, of course. A promising start at a 6-0 scoreline for Team EnVyUs. And an interesting point here, of course, the owner of EnVy, he's one that I've seen particularly kind of online, you know, a fair bit, especially in the past. We're going back to almost like kind of 2015, 2016 here. Talk about the idea that a win is a win no matter what, and he's been a big preacher of that to a lot of his teams. Now, I don't know if that carries over to his CS team or really anything like that, but I know that that's kind of one of the small pieces of a fairly big mantra that he preaches to his organization. And I think that's an interesting thing here, of course, the idea that EnVy, what are they fighting for? NiP, they're already going to Odent at the end of the day. But I think for them, it is still a win, right? It still affects the money they could potentially take home. Still affects potentially their final ranking. Might not change things for NiP, but for EnVy, it's all about them.
Yeah, and they are certainly taking that to heart. 6-0 already. They are outperforming themselves, but Get Right with a nice little boost-up drop, able to open up the fragging and drop away with that AK as well. So they do have a little bit more strength on this B site. Rez backing away for the flash, and the spray from the CZ lands well. 6-0 though, and Scream both just walk through, and he finds 3 headshots. I mean, it's not even a problem, right? You just walk around the corner and click on people. It's the aim of the game. But he has taken to the 1 HP. Doesn't matter though, a 6er lands the AWP shot over onto Exist, and EnVyUs take a 7th round with not a peep from Ninjas in Pyjamas.
You make it sound so easy, John. Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game of clicking on people.
I'll tell you what, though. Scream, that's some clinical clicking if I've ever seen
He's very good at clicking on people.
John, have you played ESCA before?
Pardon?
Have you played ESCA before?
No.
You should. You should try it sometime. We'll see
how
good you are at clicking mouse.
Yeah, probably.
It's so simple.
Oh, I don't know if I'm that good. There's a reason I talk about it instead of play it,
Yeah, makes sense. What's interesting here, of course, to continue that trend of you talking about things, is the double-up setup being shut down continually by the aggression of EnVy. I mean, Draken and Rez started strong, but RPK, a double for him, Get Right. Totally things up to a 3 versus 2. May well have just stolen the most important kill of the round. But what's strong here from EnVy, if they slow things right down to a grinding halt, they put Happy in a spot where he just waits patiently so for that opportunity. And if NiP give it up, this could be disastrous as this peeks into the corner, but wins out the duel. That's huge. As it leaves just 6er all alone. An AWP. But a wallbang to make it feel possible. 2 kills to find. The molly's good. It's going to push Get Right nice and wide towards the back of sight. But also gives him the angle he needs to close him down.
First round on the board for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Finally able to do it with those double AWPs being saved as well. Means that they have got a little bit more strength, as we talked about the double AWP setup a couple of times before as well. Over on that B site, that AWP playing Lynch is really, really crucial, and choosing where you want to put that second AWP is sort of up to you. At the end of the day, there's no real sort of meta for it. There's no necessary place for a second AWP to go on a CT side, especially on Cbble. You can pretty much put it anywhere. I mean, you can play up aggressive with it in underpass. You can watch from window towards drop if you really want to. I mean, there's so many different things you can do with it. But the thing that they need to be wary of is EnVyUs stacking up towards drop.
Above all else, the positive thing here for EnVy is just, for NiP, sorry, is the money situation for EnVy, the fact it's so kind of all over the place. And that's just down to how close these rounds have been. EnVy haven't been able to save 5 players alive every single time. What they do have, though, is Scream and an AK-47. This is his bread and butter weapon. The man quite literally released his own mouse just because of how good he was at this. So let's see if he can put in the work here, of course. Already at a disadvantage. Has his teammates on Tech 9s. They're looking to kind of gather up a bit of information. You see this jump here, which is just about baiting that shot from Draken, but Draken just completely holding very nice and still, not giving away anything.
Do you see how he's readjusted his crosshair there? That's to give him, so he knows that there's reaction time. As soon as they hit the crosshair, he knows he can shoot. And, well, yeah, they just push out and they just kill them all. But, yeah, fair enough. EnVyUs do take another loss. But you see how that readjustment of the crosshair, very tactically savvy, especially against pistols, because you know they're not going to really, statistically, going to be able to just turn the corner and go for that sort of one-tap with a long-range Tech 9 or something like that, because I think they actually all had Tech 9s on Team EnVyUs, pretty much across the board. But yeah, and just readjusting, just little things like that are what separate the pros from people who play ACA like you and me.
Smoke comes down. The pilot play. This flash could be disastrous. Draken hitting a very nice shot with the AWP, but will it be enough? XMS, the CZ at close range. Rez is able to take down Scream. XMS, before he can even peek with the AWP, is led to his grave, leaving just Happy. Not in the right position, unfortunately. Just caught out.
Not enough bullets in his clip either, and just run out on the spray. Not able to get enough damage through. Ninjas in Pajamas take a third. EnVyUs, though, still have a significant lead, 7-3, and their economy is back on its feet. They're able to splash the cash and buy up those 5 AKs. Double AWP again for Ninjas in Pajamas. I mean, it served them well. They're just going to be able to save those AWPs through the rounds and try and keep their investment going. Forest playing aggressive towards the underpass, but they're just going to get backed off. That spray through the door becoming more and more popular for both sides, actually. It's normally started by the T side and then sort of echoed by the CT side as they try and get a little bit of damage back. But spraying down that position over towards the second door can actually net you quite a significant amount of damage, enough so that sometimes you could get a nade through, or you could get something like that, which will actually give you the possibility of getting just a frag for pretty much nothing if you play your cards right. But nothing was to come of it this round. See if they're able to do it something in the future. But Draken's over towards A long, finds one and drops the bomb carrier as well. Exists spraying down through the smoke, is going to find it, and Scream falls, and that's going to leave EnVyUs in a really sticky predicament.
That's some very nice early frags from NiP. Sticky, as you say, it's a 4v2. Happy, maybe we'll be able to catch off Draken though on this slow push, but Draken quick enough to take him down. 4-7, NiP slowly carving their way back into the CT side after what was a very, very struggling start. 4-7 seems a lot closer. Draken, masterfully done here. The way he falls back, of course, hugs the wall is just exactly what he needs to do. Buys him that extra second or so just to reposition, lock in that second kill while his teammate gets it done down in mid.
Able to close it up, and again, Team EnVyUs forced back onto those pistols. Only armor being bought, RPK. 3 Deagles, though, being picked up. And, well, we've seen how accurate Scream can be with those headshots. We've seen just what a demon he is, and they're just going to be able to try and go for those picks and try and do economic damage here. They're not really looking to win at this stage.
Yeah, these pistols, very bleak chances, so I take this opportunity to give you guys at home an update on what's going on throughout the entirety of ESL Pro League. Season 6, of course. Na'Vi playing FaZe, 7-1 up right now on Nuke. Meanwhile, of course, between Fnatic and G2, 4-3 on Inferno. Hellraisers versus Godsend, 8-1 up Hellraisers are. That's such a good showing from them. I imagine Issa really putting up the numbers for them right now. Of course, then Big and North, that's 5-4, a very close game on Overpass. And lastly, of course, Astralis, Mousesports, Astralis, 7-3 up. And LDLC Heroic, 3-6 in favor of Heroic. Again, another strong performance from Heroic coming out.
Fair enough. I hope I wrote those down in the right order, but that remains to be seen. Exist is just going to be able to stray down through the smoke, takes down 2. XMS and Scream fall as they try and go for this long push and try and go for the pre-fire on the angles, but they're just not finding anything. Forest will, though. RPK does fall down. They still have the bomb in their control, but they only have 1 player left in the form of Sixer. Triple kill, maybe? I believe. Do you believe?
I don't think it means much. Just these pistols. Just get it done. NiP, get yourself your 5th. Worry about your 6th. What you need to be doing right now is just thinking about your game plan for getting that 6th round from it.
Oh.
Triple kill denied.
Well, I don't know. I was talking about Sixer.
I mean, it all works.
Sure. Well, there's the double. Landed 2 headshots already. Well, 1 headshot there and one through the wall. Trying to push out, trying to go for a...
That's my point right there.
Go for a knife fight.
He just knows the reality of that situation is just non-existent. Yeah. This is the one that counts for NiP.
He didn't even have armor as well, so he's only sacrificing that $700 that you need to spend on that Deagle, and they're going to be full buying this round anyway, because of course they saved all that money in the last round, and AWP, I think, no doubt going to be bought up on Sixer. No, again, they just opt for these AKs. Now, I'm not too sure about this.
I mean, T-side, you can definitely go 5 AKs.
Yeah, I mean, but they just haven't really been finding so much success. As soon as Ninjas in Pyjamas have gotten their foot in the door and able to sort of get those rifles on board, get that utility as well, they just haven't been able to sort of open up anywhere, get some ground, and try and sort of expound on something that they've gained. And I think that is principally to do with the fact that they aren't getting picks early, and something that helps you with that is an aggressive T-side AWP. Or even a passive T-side AWP, waiting for those CTs to push out of position. Something that the Ninjas aren't really doing, but something that they could try and go for on that aggressive style of T-side AWP. But they are just holding their ground and going for that quintuple AK.
The smoke's all landing now on towards that A site. The push comes up, Scream and co leading the charge. Forest already taking down Happy. It's a solid start for NiP in their defenses. They have a lot more to come. He wants to actually hold on to this round. Of course, Exist playing super close to this long smoke. xMash just almost right on the other side. And as it begins to fade, his feet will become very apparent here for Exist.
Should have heard that.
Molly to be coming out now will force it into a bit of an awkward spot. The jewel to be taken, xMash finding it. The Molly, of course, still very problematic. He can't even take a lick of damage from it. But at the end of the day, a kill is a kill. RPK. He'll be causing a problem in Connector, prompting NiP to be just worried about him jumping out through the window.
Did spot him out just as a player was rotating through Connector, but nonetheless, they still have their eyes set on A site, and Scream has managed to push himself all the way up towards the bomb site, but Forrest has got his number, but he's not quite able to land the headshot at first, but turns it on and then finds a second as well. Able to get the frag, and now it's just Sixer with 4 seconds left on the clock. No chance you're going to be able to defuse or plant the bomb even, so you'll need to be saving this weapon here. You cannot be losing the rifle like that, especially after the time runs down. That's going to mean that he doesn't get any money on board. He still has 3.4k, and that's sort of in line with the rest of his team, so it's not the end of the world, but he could have backed off and tried to save that AK and had a little bit more strength moving forwards.
For EnVy here, of course, it will be just another round of investment from them. Players will buying as much as they can physically muster. Unfortunately, that is going to be the 3 rifles, 2 pistols. A lot of utility on Sixer and Scream, though, to at least make up for it. So NiP do an incredible job of really getting value out of their CT side. 6 rounds is really all they need. Now anything more, I argue, is a bonus, considering the way that Cobblestone usually plays out. And for them to have the chance to even tie things up and potentially compete for the win is something else entirely.
Fast push going over on towards the B site. Draken once more at the back of sight, but this time they're not going to let him hold down that position. Sixer shuts it out with a CZ shot going through. Rez trying to do the damage and get right to finish it out with the nade. Spray down from Rez as well. 4 bullets left in the clip. Will they be able to find anything? No, they won't. Scream able to land the headshot, but Forrest is there, ready and waiting to trade. Pushes on, finds a second as well. Now it's just Happy. It's a matter of time before he goes down, and Forrest with a triple kill, able to close Ninjas in Pyjamas out yet another round, bringing them even.
Forrest and Rez really dragging NiP through that round, through almost blood, sweat, and tears, because it was incredibly tough. I mean, Draken, I argue that EnVy didn't play that round out to catch off Draken necessarily. I mean, he was just in a weird position, as was, so left completely blind, was just kind of hopping away. So unfortunate stuff for NiP, but as I mentioned, carried through by the likes of Forrest, who gets himself to the tip of the board.
That's kind of a big swing on the rounds there. You see, like, Team EnVy had a dominant early start to this half, but Ninjas in Pyjamas are just like, they're just coming back, and they're just on a roll, and it seems like EnVy can't really do anything here, and they have actually opted to pick up the AWP, but it's not going to matter because Draken echoes his performance from earlier and gets the exact same 2 kills. Not on the bomb carrier this time. Unfortunately, they don't have that position, but the bomb carrier is waiting just around the corner. Sixer with that AWP does have the bomb, and Draken's going to try and go for the AWP face here. Exist picking off his teammates in the meantime, but Sixer actually comes out on top. He should have spotted out the bomb from that. The rest of the players will be playing up close. Not too much damage taken from the nade, so he should be just about okay. But RPK over on this B bomb site, able to turn out a drop, and that's going to be Get Right just falling straight down. That's going to prompt some rotates as well, and all of a sudden Ninjas in Pyjamas have a little bit of a hectic situation.
Exist, though, being in the position that he is, it's a lot of information. Same storyline for Forrest as well. Can basically get the heads up on anything coming towards A. He'll likely get aggressive. It's a gamble, but a gamble that's so worthwhile. As they wait to hear any steps towards that B site, nothing being handed over just yet. Rez towards the back of Plat. May well just take a shoulder peek sooner rather than later to kind of spot out the likes of Sixer. And the Molly really kind of cements that, swings out wide to the right-hand side, gets nothing, so will straight away fall back and has a choice, tuck in corner or go towards Tube. Doesn't really matter too much, Exist has been able to rotate over. Sixer hitting a very, very nice shot. But because they're playing together, Forest will trade. And it puts them at a quick 7-8. That's that done and dusted, half complete. Back with you in just a few moments' time. Welcome back, folks, to the European Pro League. You're joining us in the conclusion of one of the final games in this online season of play, NiP versus EnVy. Here we go, John. The pistol, of course, about to unfold. RPK under a lot of pressure. XMS starting to tap them down. It's 2 early kills, added to a third by RPK. Get right, getting himself a double for Scream. Adds into the action.
Happy shuts it down, and there we go. A quick round going over to EnVy. Trying to pick up these early halves yet again. Maybe it's their forte. Maybe, you know, they start off strong and then tail off a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's their style. But pistol rounds, again, super strong for EnVy. Every single pistol round today that we've seen, they've won against Ninjas in Pyjamas. Maybe it's something that's a little bit lackluster on Ninjas in Pyjamas, but all credit to EnVy. They're landing their shots when they need to and really sort of going for it there. And something we haven't seen on the second round is something that Get Right's just done, which is by himself a scout. Now, obviously, you're going to be looking for those headshots and trying not to take those close-range fights. Oh, wow. I'm going to interrupt myself, because that's pretty crazy. Dead even odds.
Thanks to Betway, of course. 1.85 on both sides. I think that's, again, totally justified, though, between these two. I was expecting a close game, and we have seen just that. 7 rounds almost back-to-back for both these guys in that first half, of course, leading us here to 8-8.
Yeah, we did actually see a duel going across between Forest and Sixer, but Sixer was able to come out on top of that one. Draken, with the backup of Get Right, able to come out on the top of his duel, but here's Sixer waiting for the spray, but Rez lands the Deagle shot. It's just going to go over to him, but Happy is ready and waiting behind the SWAT man, falls back, tries to go for the long-range spray with that MP9, and actually is able to pick up 2 headshots with it. They're pushing in around the site. Get Right has his scout, but he's not able to use it quite as effective as he would have liked, and RPK finds that final kill, and EnVy take the second round of the half.
A solid start. Now they have to run with it, though. They have to take that torch and continue to march on forward. Only a short sprint to the end, I'd argue. For NiP, of course, a relaxing round for them. It is just going to be the Glocks, the P250s and such. Nothing really too mad. Look at EnVy, though, these SMGs, man. That's a lot of MP9s.
They're going for the bonus round here. They are. Well, it's not really the bonus round at this point. The bonus round.
The bonus round will be if they keep these MP9s.
Yeah, in the 4th round. But they are going to be looking to rack up the gold nonetheless, because it doesn't matter what the enemy has, as long as you get the kills with the SMGs, you get plenty of moolah. So here we go, Sixer. It's going to be first to face, and actually doesn't even get any damage down. The spray sail's completely wide, and they just completely back off of the fight. But Draken tries to keep going for the face and comes off worse for wear. Not quite dead just yet, but against 2 spraying down MP9s at range, you're going to struggle, certainly with those Glocks, and Happy nets himself 3 kills as they just push straight through towards him. Get right. It's going to be the last man left standing. Has a P250, so a little bit, he's their tank of this round for Ninjas in Pajamas. He's going to be the one that's really looking to put out the damage, you know. I guess he's more the DPS, if we're using this metaphor.
We're running with it now, are we?
No.
You back into it by any chance?
What?
You joined everyone else in the horde of...
Ninjas in Pajamas is a very good guild, but it seems like EnVyUs are just rating a little bit better right now.
Definitely curious to see how this one does play out, of course. NiP gonna be dropping that flag and waving it around, trying to really rail themselves up now. 5 AKs, utility on every player. Let's see how this one plays out. EnVy, of course, the AWP on Sixer. Once again, going to be hungry for that first opportunity. Only an early smoke towards Black, though. One offensive and one defensive, depending on which side you're looking at. Few angles to be held. And Exist actually playing to the right-hand side of the smoke. There's just a tiny gap. It'll be a little unfortunate, but then gets team flashed.
Do you know what I like to do on a cold winter's day? Flash my teammates in Counter-Strike with a flashbang grenade.
Glad you felt the need to clarify that.
Clarify
really
that.
The look I got from you then was a little bit ominous, so I was just like, oh, that has been said live on air.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of things that have been said that are probably equally as absolutely fine, with nothing wrong about them. But
tell you what, let's talk about the death and destruction of Rez. The man's burning in some flames, just stuck up on a pyre, but managed to escape, cut himself free and got a kill for his troubles, starting to really inflict some revenge on his opposition. As Exist will fight alongside, taking down Sixer. That's an early 2-man advantage now for these Swedes, but they need to do a whole lot more. Forest stepping up, finding that kill, leaving just XMS and RPK. Both of them contemplating the save already. 30 seconds on the clock, bear in mind, so a lot of value in them just backing away, but it seems like they're split. XMS with the SMG wants to get aggressive. Meanwhile, RPK with the rifle knows full well that 3100 better spent in the 5th round.
Just holding it back. XMS was trying to play the bonus round this time, and that 3100 does just go down the drain, as Rez does get the frag over onto RPK, but yeah, XMS was trying to play the bonus round and actually playing it up towards Plateau, which really didn't go very well for him, but maybe he can rack up a few kills here, but no, his back gets spotted out and Exist. We got the frag. Ninjas in Pajamas finally get their round in this half. 9-10 now in favor of EnVyUs, but still very much all to play for, as this is kind of last buy for EnVyUs. If they lose this, they won't be able to buy into the next round. Ninjas in Pajamas would do if they were to take the hit there, but obviously it's not favorable. And yeah, Team EnVyUs not even able to full buy this round. So see what they can do with those CZs, and that AWP is going to go well for Sixer. So they've evened it out just a little bit.
This all comes down to his close range ability. Look at him go. Pulls 3 kills out of the bag. Needed a 4th, ideally to slow down this A push. Unfortunately, does get taken down. Now the work is coming in on towards the site. Exist did take down RPK, but in just a moment's notice, Scream will build things back up for EnVy. Rez steps into the light, finds a headshot for him, but it's all on just one man. It's not enough. EnVy, they will push forward. The double AWP setup, most importantly, thanks to Sixer as an individual for finding those first 3 kills in mid.
That was such a well fallen back couple of AWP shots, and I'm sure, yeah, we're just going to see it again here. Just pushing in. Ninjas in pajamas, they're squatting up. Sixer finds one. He just moves left the whole time and is able to just find all 3 of those kills as they go in for that push, which it signed the death contract, right, on Ninjas in pajamas push. If they hadn't, if he'd have got 1 kill less, even just the 1 kill less, they would have had a lot more strength moving forwards, and they would have been able to go for those multiple faces. Obviously, you've got a little bit more health to play with across the board. You can go a little bit more aggressive and push up and try and take that sort of A site at a face rather than try and be a little bit sneaky about it. But as it stood, they only had 2 players left standing, and when Team EnVy were swarming, they fell in the end. But they are into another round, and Get Right opens it up.
Searching for an opportunity towards back plat. He's able to have the molly, of course, just to clear things out, but that won't really fend off XMS. He'll be tucked in with his MP9. Of course, still a minute to play with. And they burn through a little bit more utility. Rez actually having to drop a smoke just to escape that molly.
It's the same play we saw, exactly. He keeps standing there and they keep throwing fire at him, and he just has to drop his smoke. It's utility that's just wasted. Oh, that's going to find the kill. 2 players already taken off the board. Sixer finding one, Scream with the nade to find the other, but Draken has actually managed to push all the way up towards the site. They are caught unawares, and Scream goes down. He's wary of players playing a little bit closer, but look a little bit further afield, my friend, because Sixer is bearing down upon you, and he has the AWP ready and waiting. You know how effective it is. I'm pretty sure you died to it a couple of rounds, or last 2 rounds ago, 1 round ago, last
Sixer.
round. And Sixer's not done yet. He's just going to find another and just turn it on. I mean, why not, you know? This guy is absolutely on a roll. This is his map, and he is putting his foot down.
4 kills once again for him. 23 to 14 is his current stat line.
It's crazy.
Was the only reason we went to OT in the previous map as well, worth adding. That was down to his finesse with the AWP. He's stepping up in this map too, and there's a lot of value in that last round for EnVy, because now it puts them at 12. But not only that, you look at NiP, it gives up EnVy's 13th round, which is pretty much a crossing point as they try and close out this game. Not much breathing room really left now for NiP. Got to get it together sooner rather than later.
Full Glocks running in, trying to find the opening. Get Right on the Deagle will try and land those headshots, but they do need to actually find that opening to start with, and with a player like Sixer on the prowl, you really need to come up with something special. But Scream is just going to shut that Deagle down and find another one as well, but does get shut down finally. Rez picking up that Deagle is able to land the shot. He's looking for another one. Does he? Do they not? Well, not too sure what happened there, but Happy was a little bit more sure of himself. Sixer finding one towards a long as well. And now it's just Forrest. He has picked himself up an M4. Could go for the spray. Jump around the corners. Not going to save you, my friend. Has to pull out the Glock, watching for the flank. But Happy will be the one ready and waiting. He's able to push out and get the bomb with the help of that smoke, and hasn't reloaded the M4 yet. So we'll need to back off and do that before he's able to go for any sort of face. But only 35 seconds left. He's going to be struggling to find almost anything. And with that smoke clearing, Happy will have him pinned.
Problem he's got is he's trying to be super smart by basically sitting super far back, and he'll push at like 20, maybe 15 seconds left, running with the idea that EnVy think he's rotated. But because of the position of XMS, not a single player has rotated. They're all standing their ground. They've got these advanced positions. It's so brutal for Forrest, unfortunately. It was a good game plan. It was a kind of a 50-50 gamble. But this time around, the coin flip did not swing his way. It will go 13-9. NiP get to buy up here, but they run out of chances. They drop this. You look at not only 14, but you may well be handing over map point to EnVy.
Pretty much. I mean, this is one of the series that I predicted to go 1-1, along with the Fnatic G2 match and the RDLC Heroic match. And we can see that EnVy really putting their best foot forwards into this second match. Ninjas in Pajamas obviously taking home the first one in overtime, put there by a fantastic clutch from Sixer. But yeah, they were able to take the map home. But it looks like EnVy are just a lot stronger here on Cbble.
Talking of those other games and your predictions in general, let's see how you're shaping up. Of course, Na'Vi and FaZe right now. Na'Vi 14-5 over FaZe. Exceptional performance from them.
Na'Vi 14-5.
Yeah.
Who's stepping up for them? Is it simple?
I will check.
We'll see if we can find that.
Let me have a look real quick. I'm going to put some money on Electronic for sure. Let me have a quick look down at the stats here. We'll get there. That's not even coming up. That's, oh, there we go.
Oh.
It is, yeah, you were right. It's Simple and Electronic playing hand in hand together. 23-13, and Electronic being 20-11.
There we go. I'd like to point out, put 1-1 in brackets next to it, and that was contingent on Electronic stepping up.
I like that. So far, you're doing pretty well for yourself.
I'm doing all right. I like my odds. Let's say that.
Well, let's see how this one works out for you then. Of course, NiP, I think we can all make the acute observation their utility is very, very rough around the edges. A lot of mollies, but the smoke department, a little bit thin. They've only got 4 to play with, and there really isn't too much they can do to stretch those. Oh, XMS. There we go. They have to execute relatively soon. They have no real disposable utility. That's my point. And that should make things fairly rough when you're up against EnVy, who have a lot of flashes to really push you back. And molly as well.
They're actually pushing on multiple fronts here, with Forest on the flank, putting pressure over on A. They can't prompt the full rotate on Team EnVyUs, and that's going to allow Ninjas in Pyjamas to try and find those openings, if they can get them. But Forest rotating back now, and the four-man stack up from EnVyUs means that Ninjas in Pyjamas will have their work cut out. But GetRight has already taken control of this, of the drop position, with 2 players playing very, very close. The flashbang will
Such a good flash.
Keep him completely out of the game, and 2 kills go through, and EnVyUs are just wiping the floor with Ninjas in Pyjamas in this round. There's no way back from that. That's 14-19, and as you said before, that leads to more. Could be map point.
That flash is so disgusting, because he's turning towards that second room thinking, you know, he even hears the flash. He turns away from the flash, but little does he know, that flash is going right over his head and slam dunking itself right in front of him. Leaves not only him blind, but his teammate who's dropping too. It secures the easy double kill, and from there, the whole round just trickles away from NiP. That is...
Yeah.
That's a small nuance in play, one tiny bit of utility, but it really shows the importance of, if you know individually what you're going to do in one scenario, you can help your team win an entire round off the back of that one flash.
Absolutely. That's the strength of coordination, boys and girls. They used that to the T and were able to pick up the round. Again, 14-19, and as you said before, it's really going to be leading towards that 15-9 scoreline. Now, what Ninjas in Pyjamas have opted to do here is go for this semi-buy off the back of the loss and try and go for a round next time. That's a nice fast smoke, but Sixer will look for a repeat performance over towards the underpass, but only gets 1 this time, and that's going to give the AWP over to Rez. Dropping it down, it's going to be Exist actually winning the trade against Scream as they continue to push on towards the A site. RPK drops down from balcony, pushes on through, and it's going to be a couple of kills going over back to EnVyUs, but the bomb now is on site. They just need to pick it up and go for the plant. EnVyUs have rotated around, and is just going to take Rez straight down. GetRight, though, last man left standing for Ninjas in Pyjamas. If he's able to pick this one up, that's a huge victory for the Ninjas in Pyjamas. EnVyUs need to be very, very careful about what sort of ground they give, and he's just going to run all the way back to B. Now, the bomb is down on A site, so I'm not too sure what they're
Has GetRight outbrained him here?
For,
is he going to rotate back to B, thinking that he can catch him on the rotate, or try and use that as a rotational position to get in the connector?
He would have heard that.
Maybe he was aware of that, but now Happy knows exactly what's going on. This is a very weird round of CS, but we're going to see how this plays out, because you know the upside for GetRight is Happy thinks that's either him dropping or him fake dropping. It's one of the 2 things. He now is obliged to investigate that. That's, you know, I'm going to go ahead and say 20 seconds of his time spent just checking what's going on, whether it's clearing connector and such. Now, don't get me wrong, GetRight being excruciatingly slow with picking up that bomb.
Oh.
But it just comes down to a battle of time, and GetRight is clearing things bit by bit. This is super tedious to watch. Happy comes down towards the mid-ramp, crosses to the right-hand side. Now, GetRight hidden right behind the wall. The bomb, though, he has to step towards it. He pulls up the upper angle, but Happy wins the Angel.
Oh, no. Wow, that was so, so close. And just, it was so sad. GetRight, if he just cleared a little bit faster on towards the site, he would have known, oh, Happy must have gone over towards that B site and tried to outbrain me. And that's what ended up happening. It allowed him to sneak back onto the A site undetected. They were sort of moving around each other a little bit, unnoticed and going unseen. But at the end of the round, it was Team EnVyUs who came out on top, and Happy to win it out for them. So, Ninjas in Pyjamas need to pick this one up if they want to be able to take this one to overtime, which is their goal. Buying from every round here on out, no matter what. Well, unless they lose, in which case it won't be any more rounds. But they do have full AKs and a lot of utility to play with as well. Rez leading the charge in, lands a headshot. They've opened up the B side.
So far, so good. Looking for a second, but currently left completely blind. Has to be careful not to figure into the molly. Instead, just backing away. So many flashes being thrown. It's a blinding affair. Happy finally eking out a kill, and he'll throw even more utility just to try and make things even more difficult for NiP. I mean, lurking in this smoke is so problematic. Get right, will be able to actually spray him down through it. RPK, meanwhile, playing peekaboo with Rez. Leaving just Sixer. 50 seconds, one man with an AWP. Likely a man that needs to save.
He's just going to fall off. They need to play this one smart because, you know, you give Ninjas in Pajamas an opening, and we saw in the first half, they will take it, and it's not something that you can argue with. It's just going to happen, and look at that. Yeah, the money on the side of EnVy just sort of dictates you need to save. There's no other option in this scenario. You pull back, you save that AWP, you've got that armor and headgear as well, and the diffuse kit. That's a lot of value that you're bringing into the next round, a lot of value, especially given the rest of your team aren't really going to be able to provide such a strong backing. Giving that over to Sixer means that he can potentially just hold off the A site on his own. I mean, we've seen him do miracles with it before, but whether he can do it again remains to be seen here in round number 11 of the half.
Interesting for you. Talk about getting it done, talk about value. I mean, I think Hellraisers seek a lot of value in 16-2ing Godsent.
They 16-2'd them.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Now, if G2 completely tank against Fnatic in this match, Hellraisers are in with a chance of putting themselves in this top 6.
It's 12-10 right now.
We'll keep our eyes on it.
Fnatic are 12-10 up right now as we speak live. Continuing to play on out. Of course, this game still ticking over as well. Sixer did lose his life very early on. The molly going towards the back of the steps. The pistols struggling as this continues to approach.
Able to get the opening frag. 3 players now left for Team EnVy. They do have the AWP still up and running, but it's in the hands of Scream now. Bomb gets planted over on the B bomb site, and none of the EnVy players are actually rotating in. They're just going to go for the save again, leaving that CZ playing up close. That flashbang will not flash Rez, and he is able to get away with a kill, but not actually with the gun. Drops down towards Connector, and Exist is able to take care of that one, but Happy is able to trade it back, picks up the AK as well, and just falls off on towards the A bomb site. Don't want to be giving away any more frags, as we saw the money for EnVy not super strong at all. He's going to hear out a couple of players trying to push on through. Goes for the trade and actually lands the headshot. Is aware that someone's over by drop. It is trying to look for it, and Scream actually finds a kill over towards the A site. If they can do this damage here, that's huge for Team EnVy. They're able to they're not able to win the round, but they're able to do the economic damage. And that is going to be Ninjas in Pajamas having to rebuy all of their guns, and you can see their bankroll is running pretty close to the red right now. Have
got to remember, though, there is no reset potential or anything like that. One round that NiP mess up is the round where the game concludes. Just like that, it'll be 16-11 in the case of this one, for example. So they have to keep an eye on it. As long as they can keep buying, I think that's the most important thing. Because Draken going to be taking that early peek, but Happy steps into the spotlight and says, no, this time I'll not let you get that first frag. I'm changing things. And he sets the record straight, finds the first kill. That's a pretty good start for EnVy.
This is where we hold them. This is where they die. EnVy laying down the gauntlet. Ninjas in Pajamas. If you want to take this B site, you have to get through us. 2 AWPs at the ready, supported by a Deagle and 2 CZs. A little bit of a weird firing squad, but it seems to be working out so far. But not if Forest gets behind you. Sixer will fall down, and that's one of those AWPs out of the hands of EnVy. Playing up close again, Rez playing in that sort of standard spot. XMS will be burnt out of his position. Rez spotting it out as well. So they do know a little bit more now, but Scream turns the corner and lands the shot onto Forest over on the A site, and the rotation has been called from Ninjas in Pajamas.
Also seeing it coming from Happy, though, which is crucial. I mean, as long as he doesn't keep himself too caught onto the idea of drop and actually gets over towards A, then his AWP could do wonders in terms of just holding down mid or long. I'd like to see him look towards long. That's really where he's going to have his most use. But it comes down to timing. If Rez peaks like that, that could have been a kill. But no, it won't be. It's actually 2 tags. The Rifles claiming both of those lives. RPK next on the chopping block as his head will roll thanks to Exist, leaving just XMS.
And save he will. Yet again, there's no other option for EnVy. They have been decimated in all of these previous rounds. I mean, we saw them with 2 players saved into the last round and able to wipe out all 5 players from Ninjas, even if they did lose the round to the bomb. But even then, they only had 2 players saving. And that's a significant chunk of damage done by Ninjas in Pyjamas onto Team EnVyUs, and they are keeping EnVyUs unable to go for these full buys and to go for this sort of full utility that really has slowed them down in the past and in the early parts of this half. Something that EnVyUs were really doing well is using that utility effectively to stop the Ninjas in their tracks, but it's just not going to happen anymore, because they're just keeping this economy limited. They're racking up more rounds, and Ninjas in Pyjamas looking good to try and take this one to overtime if they so choose, but EnVyUs have the money now to play with it a little bit.
A lot of thinking to do if you're EnVy. Really is what it comes down to, of course. Only 3 rounds currently being the difference. And considering the way that EnVy's economy does look, it's not going to be 3 full buys, for example. So they have to start getting it right sooner rather than later. I mean, they're getting the first picks now. We're starting to see them contest much more towards plat. I think that's a welcome change. But it's just the sheer firepower from NiP that's been able to pull things back. Because time and time again, we've seen just double kills or even triple kills just be pulled out of the bag by thin air from NiP.
Yeah, it's really just been sort of individual performance that's carrying them through in a lot of these games. I mean, we've seen Sixer as well step up to the plate in a huge way across multiple different rounds. It's just been it's been really good to see that, you know, Sixer. I think he's just had the 2 games of his life so far. Like, he's just been absolutely off his head, just landing these nutty shots.
He's got to close it out, though. Him or his team, they have to close it out, and that's the problem for EnVy. I mean, we're talking so much about them, but there is the Ninjas in Pyjamas at the end of the day. These are the guys that have been able to bring it back to 12. They're the guys now with 5 rifles. You're looking at Get Right having that impact, but they're having impact as a team overall.
Trying to find an entry. They are playing this one a little bit slower than they have done in the past. Looking to execute on towards this B site. And again, Forest over towards that A site, trying to run distraction, trying to run a little bit of a tomfoolery game. But they have left 2 players to deal with him, so looking to try and find the entry on towards the B site. Rez once more in his corner. Not getting burnt out this time, and Forest will make a little bit of noise, but no one's around to hear it. If Forest makes a step and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
It's a valid question.
There we go.
Forest going to continue to silently walk through the shadows, advancing his way up towards long, but it'll be timing that proves to be his reckoning.
Speaking of shadows, it's going to be the shadow that gives him away, and Scream is going to capitalize. Happy has to jump all the way and try and make his way through the hail of bullets, but it's not going to go well. 2 kills going over to Ninjas in Pyjamas as they try and go for these entries, but EnVyUs are not letting up one bit. They have 1 player left. Get Right. He needs to get this one right, but it's not going to happen. Sixer takes it home, and that is going to be the game going over to EnVyUs, so taking it back to a 1-1 scoreline versus Ninjas in Pyjamas.
What a game as well. I mean, I think a lot of credit has to be given to NiP for bringing it back that far. They did show some life towards the end, but for EnVy, bringing it back like that as well and actually being able to finish it off, most importantly, is going to be the biggest thing that affects them. It affects them in the standings too. Yeah,
it certainly does. Speaking of standings, we have got a couple of results for you. It looks like the Hellraisers Godsend game, which you said, 16-2.
That's devastating.
That's taken that. And
huge credit to Hellraisers overall for that.
That's big. That's big. As I said before, Hellraisers, they needed, if G2 don't take a map, and it's looking kind of that way. That
Fnatic won 16-11, so there you go.
They've just won.
16-11.
Have they?
Yep.
Really?
I have magical voices in my ears that
fair
tell
enough.
me these
He has voices, I don't.
Yeah.
Don't know what that says, but whatever. That's going to mean that G2, I'm not too sure on the maths, but that could mean that Hellraisers actually take their spot. We'd have to double check on that.
Wouldn't that be
it's all to do with round difference.
That was a super small percentage chance, but I'm definitely curious to see kind of how that planned itself out. Of course, before we dig in to this too much, I do want to look at the replays from the last game and just kind of see some of these special moments that really kind of decided this game. I mean, here is a good throwback to start off with the conversation. 5-0 for EnVy, and it continued to develop up to kind of that 7-round marker. And then we saw NiP being able to bring it back from their side. It was Draken here. There was such a good attempt from him, but unable to close it out with that final kill. Scream, blisteringly quick. But Draken again, his relocation there with the AWP, so nice.
Yeah.
Talk about speed. We're going through this quite fast.
Yeah, they were going pretty quickly themselves. EnVyUs obviously started off with a very convincing start to the game, winning 7 on the trot. Ninjas able to take 8 on the trot in response. Able to just get those kills. And you saw again Draken just echoing his performance from before, able to do just that. Sixer finds one, finds two, turns it on and finds a third on the bomb carrier. Finally gets taken down by Rez, but as we said before, that by that time the damage was done, and the rest of EnVy were able to just rally around him, and he's just unbeatable on this A-bomb site.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some really close moments. But now to hop away from that, I do want to give you a swift update. Mouse just took down Astralis 16-12. And also another big one for me is the fact that Na'Vi and FaZe, Na'Vi and FaZe, the game where Na'Vi were absolutely obliterating FaZe, has just gone to overtime.
Wow.
It's 15-15 starting right now. Okay,
that's very interesting because obviously at the Heroic game, I don't know if we touched on this, 16-6 to Heroic, which means that they went 2-0 in their series with a 2-point win and a 3-point win. Now that means that they're not going to be relegated. I'm almost certain on that. Don't even really need to check the standings. They're going to be out of that sort of danger zone. Meanwhile, LDLC, they have 1 point from their overtime victory, and the loss from Big means that they won't be fully relegated. But it's, you know, I'm sat here and I'm thinking LDLC could be at risk here, and it could be someone stepping up. But who would do that? It's either Godsent or Na'Vi. And if Na'Vi take the victory on the overtime,
it could happen.
You never know. They've already secured themselves 1 point. They need 2. And then I think they could actually step up and overtake.
Well, you mentioned the standings. Let's take a look at the standings either way, of course. Just as a big red warning to you guys all at home, these standings may not be accurate or up to date or totally correct in any way, shape or form, so take them as you will with a pinch of salt. But we are going to walk through them, of course, pulling them straight from the site this time just to make sure that we get as up to date as can be. Now, already I can see a few kind of discrepancies here, but looking at it very vaguely, John, give me your thoughts.
North and Fnatic at the top, very standard. They did actually do the little switcheroo because I believe it's to do with an overtime that happened, or was it? I'm not sure. Because it was an equal scoreline at the start of today, and now it's a 1 point difference. I'm just looking at what we've already had. Was there an overtime game from Fnatic already? Or is it Fnatic G2 that hasn't finished yet? That might be it.
Potentially, we'll have to see.
Not sure.
There's going to be a lot of question marks, folks.
Yeah, this is a question mark. Astralis and FaZe, yeah, it's still expected them to be there. And you can see the main talking point. Hellraisers sat in that 6th spot. G2 have dropped down out of that qualifying bracket.
That's painful.
That is so painful. To have that happen right at the last moment. Hellraisers, congratulate. If this is accurate, congratulations, because that is really, really good to see. I mean, you can see the difference. They just ticked over onto 14, so they would have won on score difference either way, but 41 to 39, those numbers speak to themselves. And that's Hellraisers actually being able to push that one through, which is really, really cool. Meanwhile, down at the bottom of the table, you've got Na'Vi Godsent still in that relegation zone. Big right down there. Still taking that double loss means that they will be sat pretty glumly at the bottom. They will absolutely be relegated to the Mountain Dew League. Still, some good teams to play against in there, but they will be joined by one of the other two 12 and 13 positions. Or potentially, they'll be playing in the relegation tournament. Yeah,
and looking at those relegation teams, there's some impressive teams there. But before we get into that conversation, we'll get back to G2 for a second and just talk about them in Fnatic, because that was the game that took place tonight, of course, 16-9 and 16-11. I think for G2, that is going to create a very somber feeling for them overall, and just a very negative atmosphere. Losing to Fnatic is a game that G2 should really be able to take. And arguably, some would say quite comfortably. I think Fnatic, in fairness, have come on some serious form. I mean, it's evident by their performance in Pro League, just top of the spot. But it should have been much closer for me, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, 69, 16-11, it feels close, but I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is, it's just wanted to see G2 at the finals. I think they've got a lot more to show for themselves, and I think they've shown that on LAN.
Yeah, but, unfortunately, they just weren't able to bring it. I mean, that's the way it happens sometimes. Sometimes the person who should win doesn't necessarily. That's
the beauty of Counter-Strike, though. Anything can happen.
That's what I keep telling myself, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when you play Pogs online and you lose 16-0 every single time, John, it's just a sad day for us all, really.
Listen, it's my team. They're just rubbish.
That's what everyone says, right? I see threads all the time.
I mean, I'm part of my team.
I mean, you included are pretty bad in general, but I'm glad that you have to talk and not play, because if we had to watch him play, then, folks, that would be a very tragic experience. But nonetheless, sure. I do want to round off the conversation today by just talking about what Pro League is all about and talking about the grand finals, of course, Odense, the Spurcast and Finn Arena. It's going to be absolutely an amazing experience for everyone who gets to attend. 12 of the best Counter-Strike teams in the world competing for a share of $1 million.
Do you have a favorite team going in?
I'm not sure I have a favorite. I'm definitely looking towards the Brazilian hearts of SK, for example, I think as well. Going to always be looking at FaZe, but Na'Vi are really going to be one for me that come to mind. I hope that we can see them kind of get there. I think, unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen, but...
Well, certainly not.
It's certainly not going to happen, but
EPL.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think in general I want to see Na'Vi perform at LAN, so I think those are the 3 talking points that come to mind when I just think of LANs in the future. But yeah, Odense particularly, I think definitely FaZe. I think Fnatic as well. I think if you're not looking at Fnatic at Odense, then you're doing something wrong probably, considering the surprise results they've been able to put in Pro League. But it's also the inconsistency argument for Fnatic that we're definitely going to be looking at.
I definitely agree there.
Yeah.
But moving forward, I mean, as I said, I've been a long-standing Fnatic fan, so I'm going to be rooting for them as they go on to Odense. It seems like the rosters have been locked now. So Fnatic, North, FaZe, Astralis, NiP, and Hellraisers.
Interesting stuff.
Not too sure about the NA side of things. But
yeah, NA was a little bit all over the place, but I'll leave that to guys over in North America to deal with. Folks, it's been an absolute pleasure bringing you Pro League. This is the final broadcast we get to make from the online side of things. The next time you see us sitting at this desk, it'll be live for the finals. Make sure you're there with us. If you want to get involved, win yourself some tickets. You saw it on your screen just a moment ago. You can head on over, of course, all supported by the wonderful folks at PaySafeCard. They're making your trip to Odense a reality, so do go get involved in that giveaway. Win yourself that trip. But with that said, folks, the next time we'll be seeing you is at the Sparkcast and Fin Arena. It's been an absolute pleasure. Until next time.
ESL